Well, it is finally going to feel like summer. So today, Mike Ward on Wine, has brought in 3 of his favorites for beautiful days like today. It is so good to see you. I feel like it's been forever.
It's been a long time. Yeah. Now the weather is kind of changing. So, I thought, let's bring out some favorites.
I love that. Now, you know me, I usually stick with my reds, maybe a rosé, but Sauvignon Blanc seems to be the go-to wine of hot days. Describe a Sauvignon Blanc and what the profile is.
Well, first of all, it's such a versatile grape variety. It can do a lot of different things for you. It's got a great history, and it's one of those grapes. I use it a lot in classes for teaching tasting because it really reflects the place where it comes from. So, I picked Stoneleigh today, which is one of my favorites, and it's from Marlborough, New Zealand.
And New Zealand is kind of the go-to place when people pick out a Sauvy B, as I like to call it. Because
I like that nickname.
Honestly, you'll go to a menu at any restaurant, and maybe the server will say, well, do you want it from New Zealand, or do you? And the New Zealand one always seems to be better.
Well, it has this really distinct aroma, like a grapefruit. And I want to scare people off, but if you like grapefruits or that hint, that kind of citrus, sometimes a little bit like freshly cut grass, it can have all these nice aromas. Very aromatic grape variety, and New Zealand really, Sauvignon Blanc found a great home there. It's not originally from there, it's a French grape, and but when grown in New Zealand in Marlborough, so think about New Zealand as 2 islands.
Okay.
So it's the furthest north of the South Island, and that's where Marlborough is on the eastern side, because it protects it from weather that comes in west to east. So all the grapes found this great place, nice and sunny, perfect to grow.
So it's the soil, it's the temperature, it's the climate, it's everything about it that just makes this a great place to grow Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah. Yeah, there's 55,000 acres of Sauvignon Blanc in Marlborough, and to kind of put that into perspective, all of the acreage in Napa Valley, so all of the grapes, is 45,000. So there's 10,000 more acres just in Marlborough in New Zealand.
That is crazy. Now, is New Zealand known for any other wine varieties?
They do Chardonnay.
Okay.
They do Pinot Noir. That's kind of their biggest, for red. That Pinot Noir comes from further south in a place called Central Otago, which is about as far south as you can go. You'd fall off the island and go straight to Antarctica. Leave there. Used to be the furthest southern wine growing region in the world, but there's some grapes growing in South America that have now surpassed it further south. Can't really grow too much Cabernet there in New Zealand. There's a little pocket in a place called Hawke's Bay in the North Island that's warm enough for Cabernet. So it's not really, and the wine's fantastic, by the way, harder to find.
Wow. Okay, well, let's move on to this Prosecco Rosé, and this comes from Francis Coppola. What do you like about this one?
Well, I love Prosecco, and I love Rosé. How do you all feel about Rosé? Do you drink it?
Rosé.
Yeah, I'm a red wine guy.
Yeah.
And so, it's okay.
But a lot of rosés are made from Pinot Noir, correct?
Pinot Noir is a wonderful grape for rosé. Do you look at that pink wine and think, it's sweet? Is that what you think?
I think that's a natural assumption. Yeah, I know differently because you've said before. But
right. Yeah.
White Zinfandel.
Yeah.
I feel has given pink wine an interesting
bad name.
Well, I wasn't going to say that because my mother-in-law drinks it all the time. An interesting reputation.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with White Zinfandel. It's a little harder to find nowadays. It's not as popular as it used to be, but dry rosé is really perfect for the summer. I really like Prosecco. Now, Prosecco is a specific Italian wine, and by law, it has to come from Italy, so you can't make a Prosecco. Even though Coppola is a California winery, you can't make a Prosecco from any other place except for Italy, and almost all of it comes from northeastern Italy, right outside of Venice.
Oh.
I would say right outside, but about 2.5 hours west of Venice.
So explain how that works. So Coppola wants to make that.
Yeah.
And he has to have some sort of a deal with somebody in Italy to make it for him.
Exactly. They go to Italy, they find a winery, they tell them this is how many cases I want, this is what I want the wine to taste like. They make it by law. It's a DOC wine, meaning a controlled appellation of origin in Italy. So there's a lot of laws behind how it's made. And they use a grape called Galera. Have you ever heard of the Galera grape?
I don't think I have.
Doesn't even sound Italian, does it? And they add
What is it similar to?
Well, it's light and fruity, and I've never had it as a non-sparkling wine, but it probably doesn't have enough to make a nice still wine. Great as a sparkling wine.
Okay, speaking of sparkling, and I'm looking at the Francis Coppola, the Prosecco Rosé, and it has the cage on it to open.
Right.
Does a Prosecco pop as much as a sparkling and as a champagne?
That is a great question.
Thank you.
Gosh, this is so, that's one of the
You
best
missed me?
questions. Yeah, I did, yeah. Champagne is 6 atmospheres of pressure, 90 pounds of pressure in the bottle. And Prosecco is made in a tank, not a bottle, so it's only 2 atmospheres of pressure.
Oh, so it's not going to pop nearly as much.
It will pop. Be careful opening it, but it won't have the same fizz.
I didn't realize atmospheres was a measurement of pressure.
Yeah,
How about that?
it is. Based on the pounds of pressure, hard to do the math, but I've just memorized it, so that's how I know it. But they make it in a tank, so when you pour a glass of this Prosecco, you'll look at it and you'll think, there's not a lot of bubbles there. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be frizzante, which is the Italians call it, lightly sparkling. Spumante means fully sparkling. And that's the wine that's made in the other part of Italy that's sweet called Asti Spumante.
Asti Spumante. I've pushed a lot of those down the conveyor belt.
Right. Prosecco before the meal, Asti Spumante after the meal, and you're in good shape. And, one thing that people don't know about Italy is they make sparkling wines all over Italy. We don't get a whole lot of them, but it is a very traditional way to. There are regions of Italy that you're known for red wines, but they let the people make a sparkling wine if they want to, even out of red grapes. So it's kind
really?
of yeah.
So a Prosecco Rosé, probably not what you're going to put with your mimosa. You want to drink the Prosecco Rosé just on its own.
You can. I wouldn't. Do the Prosecco, do the Coppola Prosecco with the mimosa, not the rosé. I mean, you can, you know what? And I'm going to tell you right now, something you're going to hear from me a lot this summer is with your rosés, you can add some ice cubes. It's okay. We're going to be talking about a wine here in a few weeks, and I'm going to tell you to add some ice cubes to it.
This is interesting because last night we grabbed dinner, and I chose a blend from France that was Grenache and Syrah, and it was served chilled. At what point does the red wine, not just room temperature, but chilled? Which ones do you serve chilled?
So all red wine should be lightly chilled.
All of it. Cabernet, Syrah, Grenache, Pinot, all chilled.
And if you think I'm crazy, try it. Don't have it refrigerator temperature. I'm talking about like 50, 55 degrees, especially in the summer, and especially if you're going outside.
Can you put it in a cooler and that will get it to the right temperature?
I would, but you don't want it ice cold. You don't want it like the same refrigerator temperature as your Sauvignon Blanc, which you shouldn't even drink that too cold. But
despite what Josh says about beer, you don't want it like you're a cold beer. You want it 15, 20 degrees warmer.
And I just encourage people to try it. And if you don't like it, go back to your room temperature red wine. Totally fine. But chill that red wine a little bit. You'll like it.
If we've got one of these wine fridges at home, what's the temperature on it?
Good question.
I have a small one. It's like 55 degrees. And that's kind of to me, good temperature to keep it. And I can serve the reds that. I might want to chill those whites just a little bit more.
Stick the white in the refrigerator.
Which is fine. Serving temperature for Chardonnay and Pinot Noir is the same, 55 degrees. So one's a white wine, one's a red wine, same serving temperature. Now, when I say this, you at home do what you want, of course.
Do what you like.
Suggestion.
I'm just making suggestions, and I'm just saying try it because you might turn you into a different type of drinker.
Yeah, somebody from the 314, I love this segment and I've been missing it. I agree. We're back to some wines. This is fantastic. We're going to talk about a red wine that's one of your favorites for this time of year. But first, let's check in with Captain Paul and get a check of traffic. right there, Mike. You have a red blend from the Z. Alexander Brown proprietary red blend. And Z. Alexander Brown, I mean, that's the Zach Brown wine. What grapes are we talking about in this blend?
So 3 of my favorites, Zinfandel,
Yes.
Petit Syrah,
Okay.
and Syrah.
Oh.
So you have this combination of these spicy grapes, each one kind of bringing in a different level of spice. You can have this with barbecue because you're grilling something this weekend, or you're getting some barbecue or something along those lines, and it really will go with almost anything. And now it's it's not as big and bold and tannic as a Cabernet, but it's still a big red wine. But I would also say, you can keep it in the cooler outside when you're having those ribs or whatever you're having.
Red blends to me, and I love a red blend, but they are so different, every single one of them. So what is your suggestion to find the one you like? Do you look at the grapes?
Yeah.
Is that how you figure out which red blend is going to be your go-to?
You should first listen to this segment, and I'll help you.
Yeah.
And second, you can email me. And third, I would say, look at the grapes. So let's. There's 2 big differences. Traditional red blend would kind of be like a Bordeaux blend, which means Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and a few other grapes that they are using Bordeaux. That's a very traditional red blend. Do you like those?
I love it,
Yeah.
yes.
A non-traditional red blend would have Zinfandel and other grape varieties. Now, I love Cabernet, but in the summertime, that's pretty big. And if I'm going to grill some steaks, that's probably the wine I'm going to have. But I like these other more versatile grapes. Zinfandel is a true American grape variety, which I'm so proud of. And the vines out in California live to be 100, 120 years old. We have a great story with it.
Yeah.
We only call it Zinfandel in the U.S. Of course, it's not from here, just like all of us. It made its way here. I'm a big Zinfandel fan.
I am too.
Mike, a good friend of mine, this is going back maybe 25 years, discovered a wine that I think has been my all-time favorite, and I have real trouble finding it. I might have mentioned this to you one other time. It was a red blend called Alluvium from Beringer.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember that wine very much, and I just wonder, because I always wonder, can I find something
Similar.
like it? And I don't know how to find it. Would this red blend be similar?
It will not.
It will not.
That is a very traditional winery, traditional red blend. It references the soil. That's what the name means.
Gotcha.
It's more of the traditional Cabernet blend, which you find from some of those historic wineries in Napa Valley.
Yeah.
Love it. It's a great wine, and there's others like that. I have seen that wine in a while.
I haven't either.
This would be more of those, new, more modern styles that we've seen in the last 10, 15 years that pop up with, grapes like this.
Have red blends always been a part of winemaking?
I mean, you really can look at wine history, and blends are much more traditional than you would think.
Okay.
Even blending red and white grapes together. The only grapes that you don't find blended as much are like Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, but every champagne is Chardonnay and Pinot Noir.
I'll be darned.
Blending grapes is the tradition that we've had for maybe like 2,000 years.
And I bet if you're a winemaker, finding that right chemistry to fit is probably a fun experiment in your winery.
Exactly. Nature puts its thumbprint on the grapes singularly. So one grape variety, that's what, you're handed those grapes, you make a wine with it. But the winemaker, the art form is, how am I going to make the blend? And like in the case of this one, that each grape has a job. It has a certain flavor profile. You should taste all 3 grapes. And I mean, that's hard to do, but you should taste all 3 grapes.
Do all of these come from the same family of wines?
They do. The Delicato family wines, who are our sponsor today, Stoneleigh, and they're Coppola's. They're kind of their big winery. I love their wines, mostly California Sonoma wines. Obviously, this is their Italian wine, but they were nice enough to. They were nice enough to say, hey, just talk about any of our wines and let me pick what I wanted today.
Oh, and so these are 3 of your favorites. And of course, all 3 of these, I know that I've seen them in just about every grocery store wine aisle and every, as far as that goes, wine shops or liquor stores.
I wanted to pick wines today that you can find, if you're out in the store tomorrow buying whatever you're going to grill, easy to find anywhere you are. Anywhere that you're listening to this, you'll find these 3 wines.
And pretty affordable.
Oh, yeah. That's even better.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All under $15.
Yeah. Remind people if they have a question for you, if they're starting up that grill and they want to know what to, serve with it.
Mike at wardonwine.com, and I'll help you pair whatever you're having with whatever wine you like.
All right. It's always great to see you. Always great to learn a little something more about wine. Thank you so much, sir.
Cheers.